to order the January 11th meeting of the Lafourche Levee District. Roland Gifford, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, roll call, please.
Ronald Colley. Mitch Stanow.
Here.
Roland Curall.
Here.
Roland Guidry.
Here.
McNeely Ron.
Here.
Keith Kidry.
Here.
And Monty Vegas.
Here.
Mr. Vice President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll move on to the oath of office for the Board of Commissioners. Brian?
Yes, Mr. Vice President. If all of the board members would stand and raise your right hand. I, and state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of this state, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a board commissioner of the South Lafourche Levee District, according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God.
Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda is the election of officers for the 2021 year.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion that all officers of 2020 repeat for 2021.
I'll second that motion.
A motion by Monty to retain the officers, seconded by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think Mr. Ronald wanted to mention something on Mr. Ronald?
Yes, you'll hear me?
Yes.
sir.
Okay, first of all, I want to welcome Brian to our board. I know he will be a good member. He has a lot of experience from the other board he was serving on, the drainage district, and that his daddy will be a hard act to replace. CJ was a good member of our board, faithful member. He worked really with together.
Join the meeting.
But I know that you still hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because something came on and cut me off. I want to congratulate Brian, so I know he's going to do a good job replacing his dad. Welcome to the board, Brian.
Thank you.
Secondly, I want to comment on Bob Falk. I've known Bob Falk for at least 40 years now. Bob was a big man, both in stature and in his faith, but he was a gentle soul. Bob was the type of guy that you could push him and push him and push him. He'd always give you a smile. He was a faithful friend to me. He had great love for his family. And we're really going to miss him. We have, so far, I think it's 8 people that expressed interest in serving on the board. We will have a meeting with our representative, Joe Orgeron, sometime this week, probably Thursday. Wendell and I to discuss the various people who have applied, and at that point we'll make the presentation to the board and then Joe's going to make the announcement. But the appointment is Joe's to make. He just asked us for our input. And that's basically all I have. I'm here listening. If I hear something, I want to comment, I will comment, but I'm just, Keith is running the meeting. I'm just going to sit back and listen. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, Ronald. Okay, next up, audience comments. Anybody in attendance to address the audience? Address the board? Okay. If not, we'll move on to our general manager report.
You didn't do number
The minutes.
4.
The last
Minutes of
meeting.
last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I need approval of the minutes, the meeting of December 14th. Moved by Max, second by Roland Curall. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Now the general manager report.
We actually tested this at one point.
I tested every time and it always works. Very good.
Okay, no, just thinking, we're starting a new decade, and so I'm looking back at what have we accomplished over the last 10 years. And that levee looks real flat. It's approaching pump station number 2. And so almost all over the levee system, we've increased in the last 10 years anywhere from 3 to 6 feet. And that makes a big difference when you're starting with a platform that's already 10 feet high. So these are, again, the jobs. You can see over here, that's the golden floodgate. And the level of protection was 11 feet. That's the most southerly structure that we had. And it was 11 feet of protection. Today we've got it protected up to 16 feet. And again, the highest level we've had of water has been 8 feet. So that's not to say it's going to protect from everything, but we improved our situation a lot. And again, it goes back to what we try to do. Be better today than we were yesterday, be better tomorrow than today. And by doing that over the last 10 years, we've made some really good progress. Again, we have not flooded since 1985, Hurricane Juan, before the system had been closed. And we have not flooded since. And we got to keep reminding people, there's 35-year-old people that never experienced the flooding that took place in Lafourche. And we need to remind them that the only reason they haven't flooded is because this project has been increasing in size. There's pump station number 2, the pipes, and then we've raised it. That was at about a 13-foot elevation, and now we've gone close to 18 in this area. And Terrebonne Levee is wide open. Once you get past Warshan, there's mostly water between the Gulf of Mexico and our levees right here, all the way back to cutoff. So that improvement is, we're hoping not to get tested. This is the Texaco dock that's on, an Apache dock, 11-foot wall, and that was, I believe that was Rita. That we had, that's the 4-lane highway on the left, and that's the flooding, and the Texaco building had 5 feet of water on that storm. And then today, now we're on the outside, and they've elevated the trailer, the building is no longer there. And that wall, which is about 11 feet, is buried under that 17-foot high levee. And then you look at where we're at, and the storms that are hitting us today, and we had Laura. Laura pushed, right now the latest report that I saw as Laura, the highest was right here, about 19 feet above sea level. Okay, that's at Grand Chenier in Cameron. Lake Charles is right about here. Now, if this storm had hit a little bit more to the west, kind of interesting to see if, you have the channel that goes all the way, the Calc chute goes all the way to Lake Charles, how close it would have gotten to 19 feet. But certainly they would have probably got maybe around 14. But it pushed, again, water 19 feet high, and that's not projected computer model, that's what really happened. And then you see it over here again, Lake Charles up in here. And I've been talking to the National Weather Service and a couple of researchers at LSU, and I'm curious, if we took Laura with the parameters that it had, the forward speed, the radius of maximum winds, and the winds that will blow, and I think about 135, somewhere around there, 130, and push that on a critical path for us. I'm curious to see what the computer model would say about our 18-foot levees and 16-foot levees, how they would handle this storm. Then the maintenance on this, the maintenance on the lock. Okay, the lock, the interior gates are in good shape. These are the exterior gates, the old gates they were put there in 1985. In fact, we completed them a month before Juan hit. And although we flooded for Juan, this floodgate stopped about another 2 to 3 feet of water getting in on top of the 4.5 that we got. So here the guys that are prepping the gates to be lifted. They had a barge come in with a crane. And this was one gate was lifted one day. And he's got it lit, you can see right here, it's lifted out of the water. And then the barge comes underneath it. And then the next day, the second gate was lifted. And you can notice we have more of the gate on the water than above. And of course, just remind everybody, it sits on concrete that's 8 feet thick and embedded in about 180 piles that go down to 90 feet. So it's a pretty robust structure. And again, lifted up, and the barge goes on. There you go. There's lifted up, and they brought the barge right underneath it and welded it in place. And here you see the barge, the 2 gates. The gates were taken to along the Harvey Canal. Pete, what's the location? You know, talking about it today?
At the round Stewart Stevenson, a little bit.
Right, that's right, Drake?
Yes, in the
Yeah,
Harvey Canal.
Yeah. So that's where they were, they're being worked on over there.
It's a circle.
But they put it on the barge and they weld it in place and they take it over there. Yeah.
What's doing everything else?
All right, here's the aerial view looking west. Here's pump station number 8. That's how Levee headed to the west. And here's the 2 pieces of floodgate. And again, they were brought over there to be worked on. And they're just sandblasting it. And they also, that was one of the parts of the project, is to change the skin. Stain all the steel on the outside of the gate. It's been there since 1935, 1985. It's been there 35 years.
What did 35?
That's right.
I was gonna-
And again, they've done it done, and that's it's been sandblasted. And again, we added, the last time we did this, 10 years ago, we added 6 feet here to get that elevation we have today. Here's some work that's being done. This is the wall, sheet pile wall that we have the Golden Meadow pump station. After Katrina, the Corps decided they improve the height of the wall here, and we would take the levees, but we asked them to go to 16 feet. They didn't. They only went to 13. Levees up to 17. And so we have this contracted and tried to go to 18. And this is one of the lowest areas on this side. The only reason we waited so late, this is it's a well-built structure. It has a splash pad. We believe that if it would be over top, it wouldn't totally fail. And that once the water would go down below 13 feet, there would be no longer any flooding. But now we don't have to worry about that because this will be in place up to 18-foot elevation by this hurricane season coming, August 15th of this year coming. So that's an important project that we're going to hopefully have completed by the time we get to the serious part of hurricane season. And here you can see the job from other direction. Right now they're putting in the supports and then they'll be welding to add 4 feet on top of that. And that's looking to the west, and you see we just have the old spoil banks. Most of the marshes have deteriorated, so we do become more and more open to those issues. Again, there's Golden Meadow pump station. Again, looking a little bit more to the west. Here's all be heading south. There's the 4-lane highway over here.
We did that one in the back.
Yeah. This is the completed work at Golden Meadow, behind pump station 1, behind the park. Elevated to 18, and here, where pump station number, that's still at the park, where we raised again the elevation here. And pretty soon we'll finish. There's a small gap between the corner and the pump station that's a little bit low, but we'll have that all the way up to 18 by the hurricane season this year. I just stacked the dirt to put it together. Here's work on the area north of pump station number 2. This is the backup cutoff. This is heading north this direction. This is looking south. And you see the work that the GIS has done to raise the levee. Again, that's been 18 feet. And we should have that ready for next hurricane season. here is the mitigation area for section K of Morganza. And so that's real good because you're gonna have this built up and grown out, and this worked out real well. But this is gonna be a nice buffer to break the waves before they get to this corner right here. Those corners are always a little bit worse, a little more of a problem. And this helps soften the elevation that might get it at that corner. Now this is looking from pump station number 2, looking north. And again, contractor GIS has been raising this to 18 feet. But this picture, it just tells you how much we depend on this levee. This would look like this if it wasn't for this. And a lot of people don't go look on the other side of the levee as much as they need to. But, you know, we talked about 2010. 2010 is when we started the project to get the right-of-ways to be able to build this to 18 feet. A lot of open water over here. And this is at basically, today probably near 0. This land is near a -4, -5. Okay, so without the levee, without a storm, this land would be under 4 to 5 feet of water every day and getting very close to the 4-lane highway. So, and some areas going on the other side of the 4-lane highway. We, some people talk about high and dry. We are not high and dry. We're low and dry because the levee is high and dry. Okay? And again, by building this big borrow canal, it's a great place. We stay ahead. The first 2 inches of rain that falls inside the system just drains here because we maintain this at a -7. So these are the advantages of the work. That's, you know, people don't notice when you have a problem. You know, I was talking to Reggie the other day. I said, Reggie walked in. Thank you for coming, Reggie. But we play a game. When you win, nobody knows the score. They only show the score when you lose, and you can't keep from talking about it for years. But that's the way it is. So we need to understand that this is the situation because this thing is maintained and built as high as it is. And here's a contractor doing the work, the GIS doing the work on this project, bringing it to 18. And on the other side of the levee, ConocoPhillips and Ducks Unlimited, CPR raised added water, added a little money to it, but they're building terraces on the other side. And those terraces are great environmentally, but they also break the wave action that might erode the toe of the levee. So this all works real together. And this levee district has, even from the beginning, we always plan our flood protection and restoration together. Because our job is to keep the wet land wet and the dry land dry. And we've been pretty successful in getting that done. Oh wait, let me just go back. Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, we didn't get one of the pictures, but we did coastal zone management of Lafourche Parish when Discovery Pipeline needed to mitigate. The mitigation was actually building marsh along the levee. And these shots don't show well, but there's about a 20-foot wide swath of marsh that has been keeping the edge of our levee protected since 2002. And along with these terraces going up, we don't have to put rocks or sheet pile on the edge of our levee because these environmental structures planned with the levee get benefit us in more than one way. Again, it's kind of hard to tell, but it starts, the mitigation stopping out right here. And then again, here's pump station number 2. Here's the alligator farm, the largest in the world. And here's our levee. And again, just a bunch of open water. Here's the levee headed south. Again, showing the terraces, the work done. And there's the mitigation I was telling you about. It ended right here and goes all the way to where the mitigation was done for section K. And this is the, just to let you know, because this is in our district, we've been, the planning has been done by Reggie and Mitch and the guys in Terrebonne. But this is the closure on Grand Bayou, the emergency closure. Now, it's at the same place that the permanent closure for the barge gate here on Grand Bayou. This is the preparatory work they were doing for the permanent structure. But they brought in a barge, the Terrebonne Levee brought in a barge, sunk it, put these pipe piles down there to stop it. And which storm that was? The first storm you put this down for?
Delta.
Delta.
And then Kempis was there.
Kempis was there, and all the way till the end of the hurricane season. And then during that time, There was an agreement to block it, but once it was decided to keep going, they cut a side channel to let traffic have to go in there. We closed it back again when the Zeta came and did that a few times. But we were responsible for that, and it's expensive, along with paying for the barges being built. So we have a little bit of a cash flow problem, but working with James McMinnis with CPRA and working with Mitch and Reggie, we think that without doing anything extraordinary, just so we make sure that we move quickly in the cash flow, and it won't be a problem. Because this is like, what, Reggie, $2 million?
2.3.
Yeah, and then the floodgate itself is what?
18
Laura?
18.
18?
Yes.
18.5.
So we're writing checks of near $1 million on a monthly basis, and we still have to pay for the Roads to Golden Meadow project, okay, all of the projects we have going. So there is a little bit of a cash flow issue that we have to keep track of. Mary's been doing a good job of keeping it organized, but working with Mitch and Reggie, we think we can work through it, and James McMinnis with CPRA. But again, this helps keep water going through the area.
And by the way, before you it worked.
Was that, it
I said,
worked?
before you transition all this, but all that cash flow, it worked.
Kept some water out.
We kept the water out for at least 2 if not 3 events. right?
That was just to demonstrate the real project, right? That it was gonna work. Okay, the board, we have some property that we own near very big, and we lease it out to Hunt, and we've been advertising it. We'd like you all to give us the right to award it to the highest bidder, and it's gonna come in 2 weeks. Upon the recommendation of Lee Block, who's our landman, he'll give recommendations to do it. So I'd like you to give us the right, the president and myself, to award that on the recommendation of Lee Block.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our general manager to, when the final bids come in, that we'll give them the authorization to sign it. Motion by Monty, second by Roland Curall, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Every year, we do a centerline survey to show the progress that we're making, and also to identify the lower areas which we make our decisions to do our projects. So I'd like you all to authorize us to get into an agreement with PCO and Associates to get a centerline survey for this year.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of general manager to get the center line survey from PCO and Associates. Moved by Mitch, second by Brian Marks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, at pump station number 4, that's the one near Yankee Canal. One of our pumps is cavitating a bit. We think it's time before it gets really damaged to pull it out and get it examined and repaired. So I'd like the board to give us the right to take it out, inspect it, and repair it. And so I need a vote to approve that.
There'll be a recommendation of general manager to do repairs, pump station number 4. Moved by Roland Guidry, second by Mitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, decades of work, we talked about on the slides. Hurricane Laura, we talked about the slides. The Grand Body floodgate, we talked about the slides, unless you have any questions. The Rose Watch update. We have been piecing some money together to get the lot done. Estimates right now, it costs around $13 million. The parish, with their Gomesa money, has agreed to give us $5 million toward that. We've also been able to cobble some other money together that we have, DP money that came due. We also had some the state provided $5.8 million for us last year. And we're looking at using 1.8 toward that, so we're getting close. But there's a watershed project that has a lot of money in it. I requested $5 million. I spoke to Chip Klein, and he said, yeah, they believe it's a good project. They believe it has a chance to get some money. So we're going to push forward on that and try to get a little bit more political support and you know, at this project, the lock and the rules, it's not a flood protection project. Because us closing the gate protects us from flooding. But it's an economic issue. You know, we cannot afford to block our people who need to use the bay to get to Fouchon or to go fishing or to do those things. We've had days that we've had to keep that road closed for 2 and 3 days, 4 days, and it's getting worse. We go to a lot and we're able to get people through at least no more than within an hour. So, you know, we need to get that done. But on the same time, we're still prioritizing our flood protection. So the rest of our money is going to flood protection work, but we're going to try to get both. We're getting support from the parish, and again, I've been talking to Chet, the Port Commission, and they're supporting also. So hopefully, we will get that moving forward and get that flooding advertised. LA1 Coalition, I think we ought to, you know, they've reduced the request of dues from $1,000 to $750. And I'll ask that y'all agree to provide $750 as a membership with the LA1 Coalition, who have done a great job and have secured the money to get, find the construction of the bridge all the way into the levee system. And what's interesting, that 21-foot bridge is coming down in the levee section to a road, the 40 highway, that's 2 feet below sea level where it's coming in. And it only works because we have the levee system keeping that water out. So I'd like to have more of that.
I've heard the recommendation of General Manager to renew our membership dues with LA1 Coalition. Moved by Roland Curall, second by Mac. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, and I showed you the slide of the closure at Grand Bayou. Well, behind those, the boards that was there was some pipe piles that were driven. And there's 40 of them that are available. I was talking to Reggie. 42. 42, I thought you had given some away. Okay, that's good, good use. Okay,
You gotta move fast.
we got 42 pipe piles. 42. And when we increased the wall, we improved the wall along the intercoastal, all right? The Corps at that time said, look, we're gonna give you the permit to do it, but they don't allow building flood protection works like a wall along a waterway without shoreline protection. Well, they did rocks, if you notice, we have a bunch of rocks on the front part. They did continue the rocks because the weight of the rocks, because the water gets deep and the land drops, was gonna destabilize the wall, so they just stopped. So they said we had to come up with something. So we've been working with Neil on setting up some type of protection for the wall. These pipes can be part of that. Some type of design where we have those pipes to stop any boats from getting on the beak of a board and getting in. And maybe a combination of that with some cable. But one way or another, we're going to use those piles to do that. And Reggie said he's talked to the board about allowing us to take them, but it's going to cost money to move them. All right, but estimates are somewhere $50,000 to $70,000 just to move them, but it's worth it. It saves a lot of money. So I would like you to authorize us to have the right to move the pipes, to put them in position to use. And whatever price that we can get them, but of course we have to negotiate that's good price that we can get. But it's taking that 40 pipes, moving them from where they are in Grand Bayou, and bringing them to the old shipyard in the coastal canal. We'll store them there until we're ready to do the project. So I need a motion to approve that up to $100,000. Also, there's a lot of I-beams that we could maybe use. So I've got 3 engineering firms to go take a ride, and Reggie can show them what they have. And there's a lot of I-beam that possibly we can get also. So we're looking at what would make sense for the things we might need.
What's the value of those pipes?
About 300,000, Reggie? About 300,000.
What size pipes are
Was
30
that-
inch? 30 inch?
Yeah, 30-inch pipe piles. That's substantial stuff. Like I said, if it didn't make sense to do, we wouldn't do. But it can save us a lot of money.
Need a motion?
Need a motion.
I heard the recommendation of General Manager to obtain those files and move them to a secure location. Moved by Monty, second by Mitch, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and we have a project where we're gonna, at Loop, where the road is, we've been continually raising the levee, and the road is about 4 feet lower than the height of the levee. Right now, we put HESCO baskets if we see a threat, but we'd like to raise the road so to do that properly, we need to move an optic fiber cable that Lou has. And I would like, they've asked us to move it a little bit further out temporarily while they do the construction. They want to make sure that we agree, and I want to sign the letter saying we agree with it. So I need the board to vote, give me the right to sign that agreement.
Okay, well, you've heard the recommendation of general manager to give him authority to sign the letter with Lou. Need a motion by Matt, second by Mitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
Anyone, CPRE?
Good afternoon, can you hear me? This is Daniel. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Daniel.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if you could hear me. I don't really have anything for the board today. So I'm just logging on and listening, thanks.
Okay. Corps of Engineers. That's all. Project engineers, just go on the source.
All right, on our second east-south grading and shaping job, Lowland Construction's a contractor. He's trying to wrap up the job right now. He's got a couple of days left to work. It's just waiting for some dry weather, and he'll be finished with the project. He has submitted pay application number 13 in the amount of $19,712.50, and we do recommend you pay that invoice.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineers to pay Lowland Construction an amount of $19,712.50. Moved by Roland Curall, second by Brian Marks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And on section E North, Grand House Shipyard is a contractor. He's working on the second cell of 3 and hauling material. We're working with Wendell and them to place it in the right spots, the material, so they can easily put it on the crown of the levee when he's finished. We have a pay application number 8 and the amount of $77,097.25, and we do recommend you pay that invoice.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer to pay request number 8 to Grand Isle Shipyard in the amount of $77,097.25. Moved by Monty, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
D South, SBL Construction is the contractor. He's been in there the last month working sporadically on trying to move the remainder of the material onto the levee section. He's got some work done, but not, he's still working on it. He's having trouble with weather and also equipment and manpower. He has submitted his pay application number 10 in the amount of $2,781.69, and we do recommend that you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer on pay request number 10 to SBL Construction in the amount of $2,781.69. Motion by Monty, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And on the D South grading and shaping, SBL is also the contractor. So he's been concentrating basically on hauling and not doing a whole lot on this job this past month. He's just stacking it up for now. So there's no pay application this month. On section F, levee improvements, we bid the project in December. Onshore Materials was a low bidder in the amount of $2,140,312.54. And we're currently processing contract documents. We have the documents back from the contractor with the bonds. We'll get Mr. Ronald to sign them this week, and then we'll have a pre-construction meeting and we're ready to go for the project.
Joe, who's the little bit?
Onshore, they're out of Thibodeau. We've done a couple projects with them. They've done pretty well.
What's the start date on it?
We'll probably start sometime towards the end of February, early March. On the Golden Meadow Pump Station flood wall, Sea Level Construction is a contractor. We gave them the notice to proceed in November. So he's on site putting up the A-frames, and he's also got some portions of the wall itself on site. He's gonna be fitting all that up. He's trying to make everything work with what's existing, so it's gonna take some off from to fit it up and then start welding. But he is making good progress. He does have the application number 3 in an amount of $102,723.50, and we do recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer for pay request number 3 to sea-level construction, and the amount of $102,723.50. Moved by Matt, second by Roland Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And on the maintenance of the south floodgates, Circle LLC was a low bidder. We gave him the notice to proceed on December 7th, and during the holidays, he lifted the gates out and brought them to Harvey. Since then, he's been blasting. He put on the new skin. Over the weekend, he blasted and put the first coat of primer on the whole outside of the skin. He's been also doing some minor repairs that we found that were rotten and whatnot, so we got him to replace that. We were also talking about removing the pinto at the bottom of the gate. We had some trouble with draking them, getting grease down there, and we think that there's a problem with the bushing that's on top of the pinto. So we asked him to give us a price to remove the pinto and to inspect all that and see what's going on with that. So we'll probably come back to you with a price to do that in the future. But we do have the application number 1 in the amount of $138,206.47, and we do recommend you pay that.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of engineer on pay request number 1 to Circle Construction. The amount of that invoice is $138,206.47. A motion by Roland Curall, second by Roland Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's it. Any questions for Joe?
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. GIS engineering.
Fort Orange is GIS. The first update I have for you is 8 East Bayou Water Retention. We are still waiting on the core permit, getting closer every day. We finalized all the topo. We are almost finished with the design as well. We are continuing to coordinate with Loop, and I believe there are 9 other utility companies that we are crossing their right-of-way. But we are working to satisfy their requirements so that we can cross their lines, getting letter of no objections or agreements with them. We developed certitude requirements for the project and sent those to your attorney for review. And once we get all that in line, then we'll be ready to advertise for bids. So I wanted to keep everybody on their toes today. I do still have some number changes on the agenda. They're actually going to go down. So for 8 East, I do have amendment number 1 before you today. For professional engineering services, this is in the amount of $44,649.35. So 44,649.35, and that's going to be for right-of-way servitude and utility coordination.
Okay. We need a,
Is there a motion?
we need it, okay, we've heard the recommendation of engineer, decrease. On the change in amendment number 1, need a motion. Motion by Marty, second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That one quick, didn't it?
Jumped on that.
All right, on the south flood wall, CPRA has completed their review and approved our final design package on the phase 1. That is for us to raise the braced and A-frame section, that's the outer two sections, to elevation 18. So in December, we went out, we started advertising for bids. We had the pre-bid last week, had quite a good turnout, but the bid opening for phase 1 is scheduled for the 22nd, and that will be here at 10 a.m. And then we are also proceeding with the phase 2, and that's for the T-wall section in the middle. So, D-South, I have on the agenda for today, is amendment number 4 for professional engineering services, and that is an increase in the amount of $77,261.50. So 77,261.50, and that is for CPRA coordination and increase in construction cost is what that amendment covers.
That's replacing that 432, right?
Yes, so
Instead
that's
of
the
that.
total
So
contract
they don't-
amount. Yes,
they
so the
don't make
amendment
it
is just the
okay.
77,000.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer for amendment number 4, an increase of $77,261.50. Motion by Matt, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, Golden Meadow Boat Launch Ramp, the lowland construction has completed that effort. However, they have been requested to place some additional fill around pump station number 1, the discharge pipes. But we do have pay request number 2 on your agenda today, and do recommend payment in the amount of $47,303.16.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of engineer for pay request number 2 to Lowland Construction in the amount of $47,303.16. I need a motion by Monty, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, and the second item, we did an inspection, and we do recommend substantial completion of their original contract on this project. Yeah, no, just recommend it.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer, accept the substantial completion from Lowland Construction. A motion by Mitch, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next project on the D North ramp. CPR had requested additional geotech information, so Eustis has gone out. They took one boring and 2 CPTs at the site. They're analyzing that data. We should get their report, I believe, the 22nd of this month. But other than that, the plans and specs are ready to go. And then we are coordinating with Luke, that was earlier on the agenda, on that crossing agreement to move their fiber optic. So D North, we do have amendment number 2 for professional engineering services, an increase in the amount of $25,400.
You was just teasing us with the first one.
Yes.
How much it is?
This is better, these are credits,
25,000.
$25,400.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer. Increase amendment number 2 to $25,400. Moved by Mitch, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next is the Grand Bayou flood control structure. So on the barge gate, they have fabricated all the panels except for the main deck, and they're assembling those at Conrad. Our monthly progress meeting on January 26th, we're actually going to go to Conrad. So if any of you guys are interested in seeing the current status of the barge gate, just let me know. We are going out there that day. The hydraulic piping and flow-through pipes, they're installing those. And then on the flood wall and receiving structure, Eustis is continuing on the settlement monitoring for the 2 levee tie-ins. Sea Level completed the jacket installation, and they're in the process of driving the 84-inch caissons through those jackets. So, let's see. All right. We'll start at A. So what I have on the agenda today, we've got for Hurricane Zeta, because onshore does not currently have a contract, we need to do a contract for the emergency bypass channel for Zeta. And so it's on your agenda to approve to accept that contract.
And this, yeah, we need a motion. And again, this is money that's go through money. The money's gonna come, it's not our taxpayers, it's gonna come from either Terrebonne or CPO rate, it's gonna pay for that money. But it's in our district, and so we're signing the agreement for those things.
Good, so the motion is to accept, is to add.
The agreement, or accept the agreement.
Accept the agreement. All right, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer to accept this agreement. Moved by Monty, second by Brian Marks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
On the flood wall and receiving structure contract, we do have pay request number 7 for Sea Level in the amount of $1,335,140.28. And we do recommend payment for that application.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the request of our engineer for pay request number 7 in the amount of $1,335,140.28. Moved by Matt, second by Monty. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and then there is a change order, so we need to move around on the agenda a little bit. Under the barge floodgate, the number 2, change order number 4 actually goes to the receiving structure contract. This is for Sea Level for the Hurricane Delta efforts. So we do recommend approval of change order number 4, and that is for $1,132,975.65.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of engineer for the change order number 4. Moved by Matt, second by Mitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then back up under the flood wall, so this pay request number 8 goes towards that change order. Again, that's for Hurricane Delta efforts, and we are recommending payment in the amount of $1,149,511.19.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation from the engineer for pay request number 8, the amount of $1,149,500.19. Need a motion by Roland Guidry, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
This is an expensive update, I know.
See, that's why John's not.
One more, I got one more.
Where's the credits?
Ain't no
Yeah, they
credit.
not worried about the credit, they worried about the cash.
That's a challenge.
All right, and the last one is the pay request,
Of
again from
course.
Sea Level on the barge floodgate. And that is in the amount, we do recommend payment in the amount of $1,002,796.29.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of our engineer for pay request number 3 in the amount of $2,796.21. Moved by Mitch, second by Monty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm done.
See, that's why you want to Thank you, John.
Thank you.
John's laughing back there. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Well, you
Any
know,
question or any thoughts? still on?
Oh,
No?
well, we might want to, because, you know, we're going through this thing with the closure. Greg, you want to mention? what's
Well,
going
on the funding of the emergency closure, the state, we have moved around and approved, CPRA has also approved moving about $2.3 million of old mitigation money, which has been sitting around for several years. They unlocked it, and that's what's gonna pay basically the construction.
Some more money that's been allocated to Morganza.
That's right, that's been sitting around for several years, so it now has been free, and I think that'll be on a fast track. I would submit those invoices as soon as possible, so that should cover, there should be enough state money to cover all the construction on the emergency closure. I'm gonna get with Grand Isle Shipyard as far as the difference, and then I'll get with North Lafourche Levee District. We'll probably, what's not covered probably is the E&D side, and we'll get with North Lafourche, or maybe splitting that with them. But, you know, we need to do a final accounting of these numbers on that. And, I think, things are going up, and it did work. The Anacostal only rose 8 inches in the rows with about a 5-foot title center, 5.5, so it did work.
And just as a close on that though, and we are gonna request FEMA reimbursement for these expenses corresponding to Hurricane Delta and Zeta. So, again, even though this body is really acting as a cash flow conduit, at the end of the day, we're hopefully gonna get reimbursed some percentage of these costs from FEMA corresponding to a disaster.
So that's about $1.7 million, 75% of those expenditures, you know, because that is a emergency protective measure being
Right.
removed.
Right.
Thank you, okay. And electricity over. Neil?
All right, on the B North and B South Levee Improvement Project, that contract is Pontchartrain Partners. They have about 4 to 6 weeks of work left, and I spoke to them last week about their plans on when they're gonna start up again. And it sounds like they're gonna crank up again on that work in Golden Meadow in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we think by the end of March, they should be out of the area. On the C South Levee Improvement Project, that contract is Grand Isle Shipyard. Work is continuing on the project, everything's going well, and we are recommending approval of their pay request number 8 in the amount of $94,670.38.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer for pay request number 8 to Grand Isle Shipyard in the amount of $94,670.38. Moved by Mac, second by Roland Curall. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, on Morganza to the Gulf Reach L, this is going to be for a major levee from the Apache Forum all the way out to Grand Bayou, including some features in the Bayou LeBleu area. Right now, those plans and specifications are being reviewed by the Levee District and CPRA. At this time, we'd like to get approval from this board to begin advertising once we receive approval from the CPRA.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer. Motion by Mitch, second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and the last project is the La Rose flood wall height improvement. This is going to be adding some additional structural steel to the La Rose flood wall from the vicinity of the Bayou Lafourche intercoastal intersection all the way to the overpass on 308. That wall right now is at about a 10.5, and we're going to raise it to about a 13.5. So the board had previously approved the advertisement of this. Right now, we're currently advertising, and we'll be receiving bids on January 28th.
That's it?
That's it.
Any questions for Neil?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Delta Coast.
Mitch is having a medical procedure done in the hospital right now. So, the only thing he said to pass on that he's got somebody designated, if he's not available, do a very quick turnaround on the certifications, because that's the first step of the process before getting CPRA money back.
Yeah, what we're talking about is everything we do, Reggie approves it, but all Mitch is the engineer. So since he's not there, you can have somebody there so there's no delay, and we can get that money flow and not have problems.
Okay, All South Consulting, anyone here from All South Consulting?
I got some little bitty pay requests compared to what Laura.
Everybody's sort of clapping.
He's
standing tall too for that.
I didn't even want to get up after that. Like $7, can you help him $7? So I have a couple updates on your Reach K work, everybody. So the first item on the agenda is the lowest part of Reach K, the southernmost part. This is a job that Lowland was doing for you, the lowest, about 1.5 miles. That job is complete, the levee is complete in that stretch. This is below the south water control structure going to Pointe-Champ. This board approved a substantial completion certificate at your last board meeting. So the only thing I have is a pay request in the amount of $501,811.38, which we do recommend approval.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer. They request an amount of $501,811.38. Motion by Roland Guidry, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Great, so the next project is the next piece of Reach K where we have hired Sea Level to shape the material for about 4 miles of Reach K. Lowland was working on the lowest 1.5 miles, about 4.5 miles above that was all this material we had dredged a couple of years ago. So we put Sea Level out there to start shaping it into whatever level we can get up there. They've made good progress. They've made at least one pass all the way down the levee with their equipment. So if we ever get a chance to go to Reach K, and today wouldn't be a great day, but next time it's a little bit sunny, maybe a couple of us will go take a look. It really is much, it's shaped into a levee. I mean, it doesn't look like a big pile of mud anymore. It's shaped into a levee of varying heights. And so Sea Level has been working on that for us for the last couple of months. They still have some more work to do because now we're moving material. Well, we got too much, we're moving it to the south or to the north to kind of balance it out within those 4 or 5 miles. So they still have some more work to do. We do have a pay request for Sea Level related to that job on the agenda today. That's in the amount of $119,877.41, and we would recommend approval of that pay request.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer for pay request number 3 in the amount of $119,877.41 to Sea Level Construction. Moved by Monty, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the last Reach K job, this is the job that is funded by FEMA. We convinced FEMA to reimburse us for material loss during Hurricane Barry a couple of years ago. They began that work in earnest in the last 30 to 45 days. They are delivering dirt both to the south end at Pointe-Champ via truck, and then delivering it to the north end via the boat launch at Larissa's Street, right? So they have dirt being delivered both the upper and the lower end. They're barging it from the lower end to certain spots, and they're trucking it in from the bottom end to certain spots. Again, the work previously that yielded kind of an uneven levee, so we're using this dirt to kind of fill in the gaps where it's too low. This is the first invoice for this job, and again, getting back to the cash flow issues, this is already approved for FEMA reimbursement, so we're gonna process this pay request and immediately turn around and try and get FEMA reimbursement on it as quick as we can so that we reduce the cash flow burden to this agency as much as possible.
And this project is also funded with capital outlay, so it needs to be, this pay request needs to be submitted both places.
Both places at the same time, which we, of course, we're gonna work with Mary to make sure all that goes the right way. So that pay request, I believe, I don't know if I recited it, but it's pay request number 1 in the amount of $122,579.13 to Sea Level Construction, and again, we recommend approval.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer for pay request number 1 to Sea Level Construction in the amount of $122,579.13. Moved by Mitch, second by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
And I don't know, my business was building levees. I might want to name my company Above Sea Level.
Here we go.
You can't do that, it's getting higher and higher.
Legal permits and right-of-ways, Mitch?
All right, we got 2 this afternoon, Hillcore Energy Company. After reviewing these 2, looking for the board's approval on these 2 permits.
Okay, we have a recommendation of our committee chairman to approve these right-of-ways. Moved by Mitch, second by Monty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, board attorney? No, that's it, okay. Finance committee?
Okay, Mr. President, Finance Committee met and reviewed all invoices and recommend they be paid as presented.
Okay, motion by our finance chairman, second by Roland Curall, that we approve all invoices. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, personnel committee, Lonnie?
Okay, Personnel Committee was reviewing the reallocation of 2 employees, Kelly Schwest and also Dominic Lareal. Both of them have been in the field experiencing some heavy equipment, and they perform satisfactory according to our general manager. So we want to reallocate Kelly Schwest to mobile equipment operator number 2, and reallocate Dominic Lareal to mobile equipment operator number 1 heavy.
Okay, we have a motion by our committee chairman to move these personnel into the right position. A second by Roland Curall. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Any old business?
Mr. Chairman, I have something to say.
Go ahead.
Did you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I should have made an announcement earlier, but I didn't. In case anybody didn't know, the reason I'm not at the meeting today is because my grandson tested positive for COVID, so my wife and I have been in confinement since then. That's why I didn't make the meeting today. Secondly, I want to inform the board of Rodney Roos's wife, Joyce, passed away, I think this morning or last night, so keep them in your prayers. Also, I want to tell you that I'm very pleased with the job Keith is doing, is replacing me whenever I cannot attend the meeting. I know that in him, you have a very capable replacement whenever I move on to something else or move on to somewhere else. I know that he will do a very competent job of doing a good job. Thirdly,
Check.
okay, anybody, your committees, you know the various committees you're on, you've got a listing of them. If there's any question, any change you want to make, if the opening is available, please contact me. Otherwise, the assignments we have that said will go good for this coming year. If you want to change assignments, let me know. That's all I have, guys.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ronald. Any new business?
Well, just a mention, again, finally we got you, so welcome to the board. And
Welcome, Brian.
we worked a lot with the drainage district through the years, and Brian was always a good go-between to get our issues settled, so appreciate you having, being over here with us. Thanks.
Good, okay. So third, we need it.
I know y'all are probably in the process of doing it, but we will be getting a flag, 2 flags in the front, an American flag and a New York State flag.
Yeah, we got shredded.
They all shredded, right?
Yeah, all those storms.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, all right, anything else? Mr. Attorney?
No, Mr. Vice President.
Okay. A motion?
Gentlemen, if you're looking for an American flag, just contact Steve Scalise. And what they'll do is they'll furnish you a flag that has been flown over the U.S. Capitol that we can put up our own. It has a little bit more significance than just going out and buying a flag.
Good idea. Motion by Monty, second by Mitchell, we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.